Hey everyone, and welcome to South Asian Artists in Conversation with Haiesha Mistry. We're going to be talking all things Hollyoaks and surviving as a freelancer. So, Haiesha, thank you so much for joining me today. How's it going?
Hiya, yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I feel like it's been a long time coming that we've been trying to arrange this. Uh,
Yeah,
I'm very excited that I'm finally on.
I'm glad. I'm so glad to have you on. And obviously, for everyone that doesn't know you, if you could just tell everyone who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so yeah, I love this question. I'm talking about myself.
Yeah, God.
Which I find really self-conscious about, by the way.
No,
I
go for it. I
don't
hate it as well.
like,
It's like, what do I say? Like,
yeah,
but
literally.
just like a brief little thing, and then we'll delve into the questions.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm an actor, writer from Manchester, and you can best know me as Yaz Malik on Channel 4 Hollyoaks, which my most like recent work that I've done. But yeah, I've trained in stage, screen, theatre, film, so jack of all trades kind of thing.
Nice. And how did it all start for you? How did you get into firstly the world of acting, and then how did you get onto Hollyoaks?
It was a happy accident really in acting. Like when I was I think when I was younger, and because I've been teaching at the moment, so I've been on like careers days, and some of the young people have been asking me this question, and I'm like, oh, I kind of not forgot, but what little me dreams were, or like what she used to think she wanted to do when she was older and stuff. And for some reason, I wanted to be a backup dancer.
Okay.
And yeah, and
Nice.
it's really random, I know, but like I don't think I wanted to be like I didn't want to be centre stage. I didn't want to be in the middle. I just wanted to be a backup dancer. I didn't know what that meant, but that's what I just kept saying to my family. Like that's what I want to do. And then, yeah, obviously that career did not get pursued, and I mean, I still think I will make that one day. um, but yeah, like it was just an application form. So I was kind of like, I kind of did like theatre here and there. I did drama at GCSE, and I was just kind of like, I was a really shy person. I wasn't outgoing. I didn't have like many friends or anything like that. And then my dad actually seen an application form for like it was kind of like a youth program at the Royal Exchange Theatre in Manchester, and then it just kind of went from there. And I was really like, I was like, oh, Dad, I don't want you to do this. Like, don't apply. Like, I don't want you to apply for me. Like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to go. Like, I won't know anyone. I don't want to be there. Like, I just didn't want to do it. And then the rest is history. And I absolutely loved it. And like, I trained on and off, I think, for like 6-7 years at the Royal Exchange. And I just went about and like would bump into people, see people, and I'd be like, who are you? What do you do? Can you tell me about this? Can you teach me about that? And I went any course that I could go on. I just applied and I went on it, and then it just kind of went from there. And then, yeah, here I am kind of today doing, still grafting and still
Yeah.
making this a reality.
So do you think that the Royal Exchange that just kind of taught you about the world of acting and gave you that confidence to sort of go into that?
Definitely, yeah, definitely. Because I don't really talk about it much, to be honest. But I've got eczema, and you won't really notice it because I've managed it quite well as I've got older, hopefully. But I've had it since I was born, in and out hospital right through teenage years. So I've missed out like on a lot. So as a like a coping mechanism and like keep my mind occupied, like my parents would encourage me to like do different activities, whether it was sport or youth theatre or anything like that. And then that's how this Royal Exchange like youth program came about. And then I just kind of loved it. But I was kind of like here and there, went to see like theatre shows, knew a little bit, like, you know, you'd watch shows, you'd see people that,
Yeah.
you know, you'd inspire to look at and stuff, but I didn't know too much. So this was a whole new world for me that I was like, wow, okay, right, look at that theatre, like, who are these people? Oh, okay, like, so you can do a career out of this. Oh, right, okay.
Hmm.
And it just, like, my mind just went, poof, and I was just kind of like, oh, right, wow, like,
Like
yeah,
this is a
I know
thing,
about,
like this is a
yeah,
career. Yeah.
yeah, and like obviously, you know, being South Asian, like it's not your it's not your standard box
Yeah.
career, you know. And I kind of joke that I've like ripped up the script and gone, no, I don't want to do that. No, I don't want to do this. But I think I've always been creative, and my family in different extents have been creative. But I'm trying to like continue to like, and I know trailblaze in a way, because I'm the first in my entire family to ever do acting. So I'm grateful for that, because I'm teaching myself everything as well as like my family as well. And I think that's been really rewarding for them to kind of witness and see our world as well in the actors industry, if that makes sense too. So
Yeah, and I guess it's like a whole kind of different world for them to understand as well, because obviously no one's done it before.
yeah,
I'm the same as well. I'm the only one, so it's can be a fun conversation, but it's also nice
yeah.
to sort of see their reactions. And then kind of going on to Hollyoaks, how did you end up getting on that, and what was, I guess, like the audition process like, if you're allowed to talk about that?
Yeah. So like as I said, I started out at the Royal Exchange. I went to other theatres and stuff, and I'm theatre trained. That's where I've kind of started from. So I just had like a moment where at my agent at the time, I had a conversation with her, and the audition came about for Hollyoaks, and like prior to that, I had a conversation with her, and I said, look, I said, I think it's time. I want to do TV. I've done enough theatre now. It's time to do TV. And actually, at the time when the audition came about, and this was, when was it now? I think it was November 2016, which feels like ages ago
Oh my
now.
God, yeah.
And it came about, and around that time, I'd had a couple of like theatre like shows and stuff that I did prior, and I had 2 theatre tours in the bag that were just like getting finalised, and they were finessed, and like half my, I think 2017 was already kind of booked up, and then Hollyoaks audition came about, and I was just like, I auditioned for it. I think I can't. I don't think I did a self tape, but I auditioned. But because it was a brand new family, and at the time we were meant to have like a dad, my character who was the younger sister. Then we had an older sister, and the mum, and then that was that. And then we had 2 brothers who joined a few months later. But so yeah, so then we had that, and then I can't remember. I was auditioning, I think from, which was for me as an actor, I don't know whether you can relate, but I was auditioning for November till January, like mid to late
Yeah.
January. I was auditioning for that long period of time, and it's one of them, because you're like, what's going on? Like, can I just
Yeah.
find out, like, have I got it or not? And like I auditioned and stuff, and then it was like an audition, met the casting director, and then it was like a screen test, then it was another screen test, and then by that point, and then yeah, I think it was another screen test, and it was narrowed down, and then there was other women that looked like me, going for the same role, and even that's just like, I guess it's not weird, but it's kind of like we're all here for the same thing, we're all
Yeah.
trying to bag the job, and that world was brand new to me, because I've only done like little theatre shows here and there. So being like on a set, and kind of going in a set to just do an audition and having a camera right in front of my face and kind of filming, that was like really new for me. And like actors that were on the show at the time would come from filming to do the screen test with us and stuff. And then I had a moment where because the 2 theatre tours were like, we need to know what's going on here. I know you've auditioned for this, but are you going to do the shows or not? And me and my agent had a conversation, and she was like, look, I can't dictate, I can't tell you what to do, it's up to you. But they, Hollyoaks are really interested in you. It's up to you to make that decision. So I took a gamble, and I let go of the theatre tours. And one of them, like, I think both of them actually, I was on like development from them both from the very beginning, when it was just a seed.
Yeah.
And it was difficult for me, because I didn't want to let it go. Like, it's one of them, when you've been on a project from the very beginning, you don't want to say bye. And I was kind of like, and I was such in a predicament. And even at that time, I was enhancing experience for teaching drama as well. And I took the gamble, and I said no to the theatre jobs. And then there was the final kind of audition screen test, where at that stage you do usually meet you meet the exec producer, you meet a producer. I think there was an editor there was the casting director, I think the casting associate, and maybe like 1 or 2 actors depending what scenes you were auditioning. And at that time there was 2 people, including myself and my character, 2 dads, 2 mums, 2 older sisters. And it was crazy because it was like we were in like the canteen just outside the set where we were going to do the audition, and it was like 2 tables and each kind of families were on there, and then we would mix and stuff, and then we'd go into the audition room. And then at the back of my mind I was like, I don't know. And I've been in the building for so many times prior because they kept bringing me back, and I'm like, can you just tell me if I've got the job now?
Yeah, it's like one of those when it's such an intensive process. It's just like,
literally,
yeah.
Yeah, and I knew because it was a brand new Asian family. You know, I think it was the first Asian family that Hollyoaks ever had. So it's a big thing, and they you know, they have to get it right. And yeah, there was just a moment where we got given scenes, I think, and then they asked us to just like improvise. So like the brilliant actress who's like my sister now, Krupa Patani, who played my older sister, who played Farah, and then our characters were really bantering and like were really joking and like, what are you doing? Why would you do that? And stuff. So we just brought that flavour. And then Harvey, who played my mum, who's still on the show, Harvey Verde, brilliant actress as well. She played our mum. And then, yeah, like I just had a moment where I was like, I'm not dwelling on it. But they kept swapping everybody in the room but me.
Chemistry reads, is that this? Yeah,
it was a chemistry read. Yeah. And they kept me in the room but kept swapping everybody else. So they swapped like the mums and the sisters and the dads who we were going to have originally, but then once we got the job, that didn't we didn't have a dad character. So they kept swapping everybody else but us. And then I was like, in my back of my head, I was like, I don't know if I've got this. I don't know. I was like, I'm not gonna, you know, get too excited.
Don't want to get too excited yet.
Yeah. And then like I think like the next week came, I was enhancing like my facilitation skills with a company in a different theatre. And I remember at the start of that day, I was like, I'm gonna get a phone call today about Hollyoaks. I know it. If I get it, I'll have to go out. And it was an intense training day. And I told the woman who was running it, and then I took the call, and my agent was like, "You've got it." And I was like, "What?" And then I ran it, and it was Z Arts in Manchester. It's a brilliant children's theatre venue. And I was upstairs, and then I ran around the top floor of the theatre, running around like, "Oh my God, I got the job! Oh my God, I got the job! Oh my God, I got the job!" Because it was just kind of like, what?
Yeah, like what? Yeah.
Literally, like my brain was like, right.
It's like you have to convince yourself, like, did that actually just happen?
Literally, yeah. And I had a retail job at the time as well, and yeah, and it was just kind of like, right, okay. And then the week later I started, and the rest is kind of history. And I've just kind of I was on it for 7 years. But even that moment, I will never forget that. Never forget that. Yeah.
It's like the first, especially if it was your first kind of TV job as well.
Yeah.
And it's just like it doesn't sink in until ages after, until you're like, oh my God, this is actually happening. Especially like you said, that it was quite a long audition process as well. And it was like, am I going to get it? Am I not? And then to finally have that yes after the build up, it's kind of like you said, you have to convince yourself. And I think that's so interesting how you had other theatre jobs in the pipeline, but you had to make a decision and see what was best. But I'm sure you're so glad you made that, because obviously you on it for so long as well.
No, I'm glad. I think it's like, you know, in this industry, it's always unpredictable. You don't know what jobs will come in, especially this year. It's been really, 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 really quiet. And you know, the reality of being a freelance artist, you know, whatever creative work we can get, you know. But it was just that gamble and trying to bank on whether that's going to pay off. And I give thanks, like it paid off, you know. But the graft was real.
Of
the
course.
graft was so real, because I think I got to a moment prior to that where I just kept getting really close to big jobs and getting down to like the final 2 and not getting it. And it was time and time again, and I didn't get it. And then finally I got it, and I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And I just actually couldn't believe it. And even like my first days on set and stuff, and like I used to watch Hollyoaks when I was younger, and I was like, oh my God, it's him. Oh my God, it's him. Oh my God, I know him. Oh, I used to watch him. And then I was like, no, Haiesha, like, you're an actor, you know,
Yeah.
you're a professional actor, like, you've been employed, this is your job. But it was just one of them that you kind of like, oh yeah, this is what I do. Oh,
Yeah.
right, yeah, right, that's my job now. And I don't know how to, I'm presuming like everybody can relate in this, but yeah, it just kind of, I don't know.
It's kind of like that also, like initial, because especially if you'd watched it kind of growing up, it's that imposter syndrome, whereas it's kind of like, hold on, like,
Yeah.
can I do this? Do I deserve it? And then, yeah, which I know we all kind of
Yeah,
face.
and I face that quite a lot. Yeah. I think just reminding yourself, like, you know what you're doing, and
Yeah.
done this job for a reason, like, you know, and like remembering where you started to where you are now, and like how far you've come, and like celebrating that as well. So yeah.
Yeah. And it's also like putting your trust in the people that have given you the job, that, you know, you can trust that they know what they're doing, I think.
Yeah.
And kind of going into the world of Hollyoaks, obviously as creatives, our lives day to day are so different. But if you could just tell us, I guess, what like a typical day was like on the set, from like waking up, going on to set, and going to sleep, because I know we spoke about it a little bit, and I know you said it was quite like intensive. So yeah, if you just tell everyone.
Yeah, so I think it's changed now, but when I was there, you had like sometimes you'd work 6 days a week, sometimes it'd be 5, 4, 3, 2, none, 1, you know.
Yeah.
And when you're in storyline and you're busy, you are basically in like every day, and standard days is kind of like 11, 12-hour days. So especially I think in like 2017, because my character was like, her look was really elaborate. So my makeup call was like an hour. And like, yeah, and so in the morning, like that was a long time. Like she'd have her nails done, she'd have her hair done, she'd have like really like I don't know, makeup was to the max, and then she'd like big lashes, winged liner, and you think of like Amy Winehouse, like the Beehive. That was my fantasy, and to create that was a masterpiece. and the evolution of that was so like wow. So yeah, like especially in 2017, and like when my character did have the Beehive, I think my call times were an hour, and so I think like my standard day would have been like starting at 7:10 in the morning, and then finishing at 7:15 at night. And it'd be that revolving like kind of every single day if I was busy and I was in storyline, and then that would be like 5 days a week, sometimes 6. And then you would get the sides, which is the scenes that you're going to film the next day, the night before. And then it's like you learn that the night before basically, and then you film in, and then it's that cycle again and again and again. And I tried to keep ahead of it. So like you get the episodes that you're going to be in, you'll get those scripts a couple of weeks in advance, I reckon, or a month max, I think. So I'd look through it, I'd make notes, I'll like write loads of things like where my character's at prior, whatever, and try and like roughly learn. Like my weekends would be like learning roughly my lines for the week ahead, so that I'm prepared and I'm not kind of thrown by, oh, now I was anticipating, for example, that I'd have one scene like tomorrow, when actually now it's 6 scenes and I've got a whole day. So it was like trying to keep on top of that, but because it's a continuing drama, like everything constantly changes all the time. And at the time it was like and even after COVID, like I ended up having to do like my own hair and makeup. So then my makeup time got shorter, which I was like really grateful for, because I didn't have to have an hour makeup. And tricks to that, I was able to do my hair and makeup quick. But even still, that standard days again were like 7:30 in the morning till 7:15 at night, and then back again. But with Hollyoaks, it was like 5 shoots on at one time. So so that's like 5 different directors, 5 different crews, and then you as the actor can flip between 3 shoots in one day. So like one director will be filming like 5 episodes all at one time. So that's their week. But then you could be filming, like, say we're on the first week and then we're on the 5th week. You could start the 5th week block and then go back to the first week. So you never film in order, and you always have to remember like where your character's at, because
at that point.
That point, yeah, you know your character best. So it was constant like remembering, and then like the looks, and then for me it was like, right, what nails has she got today, and like mixing that up, because she'd always have like different nails like every kind of week episodes and stuff like that. And then yeah, like it'd be, yeah, you just have to remember like loads of things. And then even I'm trying to like remember what else, but yeah, standard days were like 11-12 hours, so it was long. And then even the weekends and stuff, it kind of never stops, because then you're prepping for the following
For
week.
the next week. How did you, I know you, like you said, you had the episodes quite in advance, but obviously you still had to learn. You'd have to do like a full day filming and then learn the lines for the next. How did you find that? Or did you find that as you did it more, you just kind of got used to it and it became easier?
Yeah, I think like, you know, with anything, practice makes perfect, and like that was really new for me. And especially in my first year, it was really overwhelming. And like I think I was I can't say for certain, but I feel like I was the busiest artist at that time, because they, you know, the Maliks at the time were the It family. Like the show, gradually, it was like my character. So I got the job, and then I started the week after, and then my character was the first character in the Malik family to be on the show. And then gradually, they brought the mum and then the sister, and then a couple of months later they brought the two brothers. And that was our family dynamic. But because everyone was speculating, oh, what family is she in? Oh, is she like related to the McQueens? Is she this? Is she that? So it was kind of like the show, like, you know, the audience really reciprocated with our Malik family. And we just had like storyline after storyline after storyline. And my first year was, I think, my most favourite year so far, because we had so many great storylines together, and as a and for myself as my character. But that was all new to me. You know, it was the first time I ever stepped on a TV set. It was the first time I stepped on a set. You know, like standing on your mark was a massive thing for me. Like I used to joke to the crew, I was like, guys, I've got it. I've reached my mark. I've not looked at it before I've got it. And I'd always, because everything was just, it was overwhelming. Like,
especially if you've not done it before.
Literally. And like, you know, you get a phone call, and then if you're busy, that, you know, you get a voicemail with your call times. And I felt really bad, because one day I missed it, and they were like, oh no, this is standard, you know, we just send it a voicemail and that's it, that's your call time done. But because I was on set, I felt really bad that, you know, like the production secretaries rang me and I missed it. And I was like, oh my God. So it's like little things like that. And then like you start your day, you have like, you know, get used to meeting all different actors, the cast, and then you go on set and you're doing a line run. So you meet like, you know, the director, anybody else who's in your scene, the script supervisor, like the first AD, probably second AD, potential crew members. You go in the set, then you do a line run, then you do the director will tell you where you're going to go, what you're going to do, where you're going to move to on this line, try that, thinking about putting the cameras here, and then you'll do a crew block. So then all your crew from that shoot will come onto set and watch the scene. Then you'll do a camera rehearsal, then you'll go for a take. And like Hollyoaks films single camera, so it was like you do the same scene a lot. So it was me, like, you know, being mindful, like saying the lines like it's the first time as well. But like all of that, like where the lights are, where the boom operator is, where the marks are. And I remember like so many times I'd go on set and the mark would be there, and they're like, stand on this, and then you're going to walk and stop here. And I'm like, okay, all right, cool. And then I'd walk, but then I'd look and then I'd stop. And I'm not, because I'm thinking about that more than the scene. So it took me, I mean, I want to say, I think it probably did take me 2 years, you know, when like everybody used to crease me about it. And when I finally got it with the crew, I was like, guys, I've hit my mark. I've got it. I found it. I know what I'm doing. I'm not an imposter. I know this job now. But it was practically learning on the job, and like maintaining like your hair and like how you need to look. And, you know, you had makeup artists and costume and what they do and what they look at. And then someone telling you, you know, your continuity. So say like I did this throughout the scene, but then at one point I just went like that and I wasn't conscious of it. And then they break that down and tell me, because we're picking up at a certain line, and they're like, oh yeah, so on that word, you need to do that. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh,
Just
okay.
remembering what they, yeah.
Yeah, so it's even like acting, but like technically acting as well, to
Oh my God,
remember,
yeah.
you know, what you've done in a scene and keeping that consistent. So that was like huge for me, and even I found it really overwhelming in terms of like getting the scripts constantly and having to learn again and again and again. And like there was one, I remember one day where a director even said like, you need to be on your lines, and I was trying to be on my lines, but because I had like, I think a full 11-12 hour day of really big heavy scenes, and then I had more the next day, I was so tired and
Mm-hmm.
knackered because that routine was new, so it
Yeah.
just completely like drained me. So it was yeah, like just kind of literally learning on the job, and then it got easier, and then I was able to like look at a script a couple of times and I got the lines, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I
never
think
forget.
especially like if you've like done theatre most of your life, it's such a different world compared to TV, because obviously it's not as technical. Obviously there's certain things you have to think about in theatre, but with TV, like you said, ideally we'd just like to just do the acting, think about lines, but obviously because it's technical, there's so many things to think about, and I think if you're not used to that, it can take so much time to get into that and to not get so into your head about everything. So
Mm-hmm.
props to you, especially you kind of thrown in the deep end, because it wasn't just that, okay, like it was obviously a new whole storyline about the Malik family. So that
Yeah.
must have been so intense, just like to be the focus of everything. So props
Uh,
to you for doing that.
yeah. I think I just didn't realize the severity of like a show that big, you know, and like being on like a prime time show, like the actual audience in it. And you know, I wear glasses as well as like wearing contact lenses. So like when I first started like obviously being on the show and getting announced and stuff like that, and I'd wear my glasses about, and I'm like, I'm not gonna get recognised. I was like, it's fine, like, you know, I can get away with it. And then I started getting recognised because I didn't look anything like my character. Like, you know, I never really used to wear makeup. I didn't really like. I just kept myself pretty natural, to be honest. So I was like, oh, I'm not gonna get recognised. I can fine. I can go about my day, go about my business,
Yeah.
go do my
Go
everyday
shopping,
stuff,
like
go
just do
shopping,
everything. Yeah.
literally. Yeah. And then bit by bit, slowly, people started recognizing me, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
And it was just so overwhelming. And then even one moment where I was like, "You know what? No, I think I'm doing right here, and I think I embrace like, nah, you're actually like making movements here, like you're representing, like you're representing, and you're making a pathway." Because someone stopped me in the street, and they was like, it's so nice to see someone that looks like me on the
Oh.
telly. And that meant so much for me, because I don't think I really clicked at the severity of that. And like being, you know, being Indian in this industry, being South Asian, there's not many of us, and when there is, we all kind of know each other. And I'm not
Yeah, of
saying
course.
that's a bad thing, but
No.
there's not, I don't think that there's enough. And like for, you know, global majority artists, I think it's on the rise now, but I just don't think it's enough. And I'm like, I can't stress how much it's like, if you've got that platform, like use it for the
Use it, yeah.
good, you know. And to inspire as well, and go like, because younger me wouldn't never have thought like I'd do this. So
Of
yeah.
course. And then to be able to, like you said, there hadn't really been that kind of thing on Hollyoaks before, and just on soaps in general. So just to be part of that movement, and to for someone to say that it's like the best thing in the world, I swear, like
Yeah,
um
got me.
and
Yeah.
and kind of moving into like being a freelancer. I'm interested to know how, obviously because it was so kind of full on, how did you find balancing life whilst being on Hollyoaks, and then how was the balance when you left it?
um it was quite it's quite difficult, to be honest. I think that's the thing that people don't, especially obviously when I was on it, I don't think these are things that people really realize. Like, you know, they think like, oh, you're on telly, oh, you're rich, you, oh, you've got loads of money, oh, are you rich and famous, are you
All
mint?
glam,
Yeah,
like
literally, yeah. And I'm like, have you got loads of money? Oh, lend me some money then. And I'm like, no, like, no, it doesn't work like that. Like,
mhm,
no. And everyone thinks it's like it's really glamorous when
yeah,
it's not, you know. Like if I'm in work at like 7:10, 7:30 in the morning, I I'd have to commute from Manchester, and the show was filmed in Liverpool. At one point, I wasn't even driving, so I'd get the train, and
I remember you saying that, yeah.
Yeah, and I'd be on the train at like 6 a.m, so I'd get up at, I don't know, like 5:15 or something like that, and then I'd get home at like 9:15, because it'd be like getting a taxi from the location base to the station, and then from the station to my home. And there was many times where I would literally fall asleep in my food because I was so knackered. Like I was literally so tired because of the traveling and then doing a long day and then going home. And like I was grateful because at the time I was living with my mum and dad, and I'm grateful for them because like they've supported me like massively, including my sister as well, and like they've took me wherever, like any youth there or anywhere that I needed to go, pick me up from the station sometimes and whatever, and like I'd have food on my table, and I knew how like grateful that was. And they would be like, I'd ring my mum and say, Mum, like, please can you just get some dinner ready for me, and she'd have it ready for me, and I was so like grateful for it. And I'd come home and then I'd sit down, and obviously because they've missed me, like my mum and dad are chatting, and I don't want to talk to anybody because I've talked to myself out all day.
You just want to sleep, like.
Yeah, and then I sit down and I fell asleep. And then and then my mum's getting me up and she's like, come on, eat your dinner and then you can go to bed. And I was like, oh yeah. And then I forget what I'm doing because my brain's just, it's zoned out because I was so drained. So many times I had that, and that was like me getting into that routine of doing like a 12-hour day constant, and having that, my body clock being up at that time and being up and awake at that time, and still concentrating even when I go home, and like even on the train home I'd learn the lines for the next day. So my brain was constantly like that. So I feel like that's the reality of what people think, that it's really glamorous. Like no, like we put a lot of work in it, and I think like especially for a continuing drama, it's the best training. It really is, because you learn so much so quick, and I'd never take that for granted, and I am grateful about that. But yeah, like trying to balance like a social life, or trying to have rest days, or trying to go to the gym or eat good was quite difficult, and trying to catch up with friends. Like I remember when and I think one of my best friends won't mind me saying this, but when I got the job and I was just constantly busy and I didn't expect it, and I just couldn't make time for anybody but myself, because I was just constantly like, right, well, I've got to do that. And I wanted to obviously impress people. I wanted to be like, you've employed me, I need to show you that I'm good enough, And I know I didn't need to do that because I bagged the job, I'm a professional actor, but it was that imposter syndrome going, if you
just
don't
for yourself as well, you want to bring the best version of you.
Literally, yeah. And I think and even like the imposter syndrome in me was kind of like, yeah, but if you're not good at it and you don't know what you're doing and you don't learn your lines, like they might just get rid of you and then that's it, And I constantly had that at the back of my mind, and that slowly went away. And I was like, no, you know what you're doing. Like you're a fiery person.
You got this.
In this industry, like you're not a newbie. You know what you're doing. So yeah, that reality was really difficult. And my friend was like, oh, you just never have time for me. Like, why can't you just see me? Like, why can't you just tell me when you're free? And I just had to like say to her, like, look, it's not that easy for me anymore. Like when I'm free, and I'll tell you. But don't be getting like, upset about it. I've not forgotten about you. Like you are still there and you are one of my best friends. But I'll tell you when I'm free. And I remember because she got like, and we're very similar energies, but she got really like, I don't know how to describe it, but she got really annoyed about it. And I was like, no, I'm not wanting to see you. I just don't have time.
You can't.
I just can't. And then she's understood it now, and she's grateful, and she's like one of my biggest like consistent champions, which I'm grateful for, and she stuck by me throughout my career, and I'm grateful for that. But it was moments like that even I couldn't even comprehend, like, I don't have time. Oh, right. Oh, okay. Right. Okay. But then going from finishing Hollyoaks, which was January this year, now being a freelance artist again of what I was prior to Hollyoaks, now I've got loads of time.
Yeah.
And now most of the time I've got too much time on my hands, and then I'm like, oh, what to do today?
Yeah.
So it's that, one extreme to the other and trying to balance and be like creative still with the time that you've got, and still like persevering and going, no, you are okay, like you know what you're doing, and you haven't got imposter syndrome, you know, you're an established artist now, you've got a lot of experience, it's just the job will come when it comes, and like just keep yourself creative. But yeah.
And was it obviously because you were on it for so long, was it quite hard to go from having something, I guess, you know, stable and consistent and knowing that you've got that job for a certain period to then be like, oh my god, like there's nothing set in stone until the jobs come? Did you find that quite a shock from going to that?
Yeah, frankly, yeah, I really did, to be honest, because like I'm that person, like I'm always busy. I've got to be busy, like, and I think more so mentally, I've got to be busy, because then I'll start creating like the worst case scenario in my head where I'm like, right, well, when's my next break gonna come? When's my next acting job gonna come? Is that it? Is that all that anybody's gonna see me as and know me as? Is that just like the one hit wonder? Like, you know, is that is that it? You know, and then you see other people and you see them doing jobs, and then it's like,
why am I not doing that?
Yeah. And then it was just, you know, constant. But and I was always, and it was, you know what was weird actually, like I was always that person, like I'm only petite, little me, but I've got a lot to say. And I'd go in all theatre capacities, and even when I was on Hollyoaks, I kept my foot in the ground with theatre still, and I kept connected with all the organisations that I kind of work with, and they kept in touch with me over the years. And I would constantly like always do like 5 things at once. Like even right before Hollyoaks, I was holding down 5 jobs just to make like ends meet or fund auditions or whatever. Then obviously I got that, and then it was actually quite difficult for me to just focus on one job.
One thing.
When I got Hollyoaks, and then it was like, but obviously because that was so busy, then I got used to it, and then now it's like, oh right, yeah. No, I'm back to being a freelancer now. Like, and now I'm back to doing like 4 jobs a week or at the same time. But that's where I thrive sometimes. But then I forget that it's important to take these rest days and actually like rest the mind as well. And that's the thing that I forget that that's necessary. But I do that when I'm resting, like when it's rest days at the gym, but actually resting creatively, I still am trying to that.
It's hard because it's like, I think because like we enjoy what we do as well, we want to keep going, but then we've got to take those breaks in between in order to sort of have enough energy to keep going. And again, not to kind of get into our heads about, oh, when's the next job going to be? It's also good to do other non-related acting stuff in between.
Yeah, literally. And even when I was kind of like I knew I was leaving, and like a good me and my agent were on a good course, and I got some like really exciting auditions coming through, and I thought, like, you know, that I was anticipating that I would film this year, and there were some big jobs, and like I got recalls and stuff, and I was like absolutely buzzing, mate. Like my agent's on it, I was on it, I was sending these tapes, and it was so interesting because I was like playing different characters. And that's why, you know, it was my decision to leave Hollyoaks, because I wanted to play different characters. I wanted to work on different people. And I was anticipating that I was going to get one of these jobs at least. And then that wasn't the case. And then it was like, oh, okay. And that was a big setback for me. And I don't, it wasn't a setback in terms of like, not me thinking that I'm a failure or anything like that, but it was that I wanted the momentum. Like I finished off one, I'm going on to another one. I wanted that, and probably naively I was thinking that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, no, I'm exactly the same.
You know, yeah, and obviously like that wasn't the case. And my and I've spoken about it. I did a show last month, and I did speak about October, that I did speak about it, and like imposter syndrome and mental health, and like that really impacted me, because I was like, oh right, what am I getting up for today? And I just like twiddling my thumbs, like, what do I do today? And even literally like the last day I finished Hollyoaks, and it was busy, manic. And then the next day I woke up and I didn't have a job. And it was like, oh,
what do I do with myself? Like,
yeah. And I heard the silence, and I was like, oh, this is what is going on here. And it really took a hit to my mental health. Like, and I think like it's just important to talk about it. And I know other people can relate to this, but it really got me because I was just kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna be fine. Like, I'm gonna get another job. Like, it's all right. But then obviously how quiet this industry is, it's just how it is. And then I felt like I needed to kind of lose myself, and that needed to happen for me to find myself again and go, no. You remember why you started. Like, you remember 15-year-old you who started in new theatre and what she did and why she loved it, and where you are now. And it's coming, and you've got it, you know what you're doing, and you're good at what you do. And then it was just kind of moments like that, and even all my friends really got me and like was like, no, Haiesha, like, you're all right, like, take this rest. And even two of my friends actually shouted at me and was like, I know you, I know what you're like, I know that you like to do 5 things at once, I know that you like to be busy, don't. And
Yeah.
then, and one of my friends in particular, he shouted at me, and I'm grateful for it, because I needed that. I needed that.
You needed to be told, kind of.
I needed
Yeah.
to be told. I did. I really needed to be told. And he was like, "You need to stop, man." He was like, "You need to take a rest. You've been on that job for a long time. You take that well-deserved rest." And I was like, "Okay, all right, yeah, whatever, yeah, whatever." And I didn't want to hear what he had to say, but I did, obviously, and I needed to hear that because I needed that rest, but I didn't know I needed it. But yeah, I don't know.
I think it's hard as well because, like me as well, you like to kind of keep sort of busy, but I feel like, again, you don't know when there's going to be a big job or when you're going to be busy. So it's like, when you have that time, use it, because then you might not have that time for so long. So it's
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
this is it, and this is what that same friend said to me. Look, don't see it as like you're not doing anything. See it as rest for the next job. And I was like, yeah, you know what, you're right. And that was kind of the case after that. And then but it was even moments where, because like I missed out on a lot of like family things, or seeing family and spending time with family when I was on the job, because I was so busy. So now I've got time to do that. So it's like I'm grateful for that sense, because now I've got closer to my
Yeah.
family, of which was time that I never really had, but they understood because I was busy. So it was one of those catch-22 kind of things as well. But yeah.
And I think, like, I completely relate in the sense of, I guess, people outside or just other jobs and things, it's kind of hard to feel like you're just letting people down all the time.
Mm.
But it's something that we as creatives understand, because it's we don't really have much control over our schedules and things like that, so it can feel like that, whereas people outside don't necessarily understand. So it's a hard pill to swallow in that sense. So I'm glad your mate kind of finally understood, because it's like, it's not my fault, it's just the nature of the beast, and one of those kind of things. But I think that's really interesting to hear about, actually, the transition of, having that consistency and then going to, I don't know when the next job is going to be. And in the sense, I was naive to that as well, because when I was younger, I was like, once you've had your big break, that's it, all the jobs are going to come flowing. And I don't know if it's changed, but that's not the case, because you can go on to do the biggest thing and then no one can know you for 2 years, and then it can be 2 years till you get your next big break again. So I think that's one of the things people don't realize.
Yeah, and it's so true. Like, my Malik family, who I worked with, we've become a real family. Like, I've gained 2 brothers, I've gained another mum, I've gained another sister, and it's blessings, because you don't find people like that in kind of most jobs in kind of your life. And then when you've got them, and it was just that community, and I'm seeing them all tomorrow, so I'm really, really excited. But we had conversations like that, because we've all left now, apart from Harvey, that's still on the show, who plays the mum. And we all had these conversations of like the next steps, and what's going on in the industry, and what jobs we've auditioned for, and some of us were kind of similar jobs, and it's just those conversations where I think, obviously, naturally, you're just naive for it. And I knew, like, I wanted to be a jobbing actor again. I am a jobbing actor. I knew that I am, that's what I've always been. and that's just in me. Like I've come from a self-employed background. I know what it means to kind of like not have anything, to have something, to and I don't take any of that for granted. And I think it was like the big break, but then it was like, no, I know I need this quiet period, but I don't want it.
Yeah. You
And
need
was,
it, but you want
yeah,
to,
but I don't
yeah.
just take it. I don't want the quiet period, universe. And it was moments like that where I'd say that and I'd think that, and I'm like, no, I need to stop dwelling at like, when's the next job coming through? Like, it'll come when it comes. You just keep yourself creative and keep doing what you're doing. And I think it was as well like a big thing, just taking the pressure off myself.
Yeah.
And no, and just I think that was the biggest thing for me, that I'm like, life's life, like life's too short, like stop stressing about things, like it's not that deep, like
Yeah.
everything will be okay. And that's what I keep like trying to like motivate and say, and like try and inspire, and other people inspire me, and just keep having that positivity, really.
It's such a good mindset just to be like, nothing's that deep, because it isn't, and nothing matters that much in that sense, that we kind of, especially as creative, we put so much extra pressure that is not really needed. And I also feel like it's hard to be fully satisfied, because I don't know if you can relate, when things are busy I want it to be quiet, and when things are quiet I want it to be busy, and it's just like you can never win, like
yeah it's there. You can never like, you can never win, because like one of my biggest things as well as acting is giving back what I've learned to our next generation. So I've been like teaching and doing workshops all over, and like was it last week or week before, I was in high schools with kind of year 9 students, I think it was, and then and even that was just constantly busy, and I was so grateful for it, but I got really ill. And it was just like, you know, you're a freelance artist, like whatever work comes, you just got to work with it, and then you're just like, just keep going. Now I want a break.
work through the
Break.
illness.
I've got and then it's that balance of like, but I've got to make money, so you know, and I've got to pay bills and stuff like that, and it's just reality. But then it's like, right, okay, and it's like the drudge, and then you're waking up at like, it's still dark, and then you coming home and it's dark.
God, it's still dark,
you know, and it's those transitions, but yeah,
it's just the nature of the beast. You all got to
get through it. It really is, yeah.
and kind of just like finishing on the Hollyoaks kind of section, what are some of your highlights, or like your favorite? I bet there's so many, but if you could like pick a couple, like.
Yeah, there's, you know what, there's loads, there's so many. I think the biggest blessings and stuff is obviously the Malik family. Like they mean so much to me, and like vice versa, me to them and stuff. Yeah, I'm just really grateful for that, and like getting to be on set all the time with Harvey, like one of the best inspirations and role models, and she's just like an absolute legend who just was like just so cool and like smooth, and she she just took us in, and like we all took each other in and looked after each other and worked, and the best days on set were the Malik days. And I think we can all like agree, like there was moments on set when we'd have like the most serious scene where the characters are shouting at each other, or like the siblings are bickering or whatever, and whenever we'd have those family like serious scenes, we'd always laugh.
Yeah,
and we couldn't help it, because we just couldn't take each other seriously,
because you get along so well as people. It's like
yeah, and it's like, and you get to know like little twerks that you do, and like there was moments where me and Harvey used to unconsciously match it and like mirror each other's behavior in scenes. So like she'd like, I don't know how to describe it, but like she'd look at me and do a look, and then I'd do it back, and like I'd give her the attitude, and then I'd like cross my arms, or I'd put my hands on my hips, but we'd both do the same thing, but we wouldn't realize that we are. And it was just things like that were just magic. But yeah, I reckon those are the best days. And then stunts, like I guaranteed, like kept joking that my character had 9 lives, because she was always in, and like soaps love a stunt, and you think she was in like 2 car crashes, a school explosion, another explosion that made my character deaf, so then I had to wear hearing aids, and have that storyline. But yeah, I was convinced that she had 9 lives, and I was like, oh wow, you haven't bumped her off yet? Wow, okay, she's still going. All right, 5 more lives to go, like, you know. And then it was just however many. But the stunts were great as well, because how much work goes into that, and that's just another world. And even if you're filming on location or you going somewhere else, like, that's just crazy. And even one in 2017 that we did, that was a big storyline, but that was like Mersey tunnels, and then there was cameras on the car, and you're in, and then they took the it was crazy, they took the windscreen off, and then the camera came right through into the car and filmed us and
That
stuff
was
like
so
that.
fun. So
Yeah,
fun.
it was crazy, because it was like, whoa, okay, is this work? What?
Yeah, I get to do
So
this. Like, I
yeah,
get
yes,
to.
I'm grateful for that, and I do miss the job for the people as well. So yeah, but
People
grateful.
make the job as cheesy as it is. Like, I feel like it's a whole. I always say this: it's a whole different world if you don't get on with the people, because especially if you, like you said, you're doing serious scenes, to be able to have that banter in between. I think it helps so much.
Yeah, it really does help it, because it just eases the situation as well, and like goes, you know, especially days where I had to, my crew would always have a joke with me, and I'm like, look, and my character had like quite a lot of emotional scenes. Like, she always loved to cry, she always used to get upset and be over dramatic, and that's just what my character Yaz was like. And I'd have like full days back to back crying all day every day, and I'd just crack jokes in between set and like in between takes, and I crack a joke to our cameraman, or I crack a joke to a camera assistant or the first AD, and they're like, come on Haiesha, focus, you've got to cry. And I'm like, I know I've got to cry, but I
Yeah,
want to make it happy as well. Like, I'm not sad, you know, I
yeah.
want to be happy. And it was just kind of those moments where I was like, all right, come on then, you're gonna get me into this close-up now, and just the joke and trying to just bring light into the set. But I feel like that's the ways that you can just keep going and like make the job even more enjoyable, you know. And yeah, I guess I was just like grateful for that as well. Yeah.
And especially if you're doing something that's quite emotional, especially doing it for so many hours, it can kind of get to you as a person as well, if that's your storyline. So you need to have that time, otherwise
Yeah, you got,
you know.
yeah. And that was, I think I learned the hard way, to be honest, because even just learning to cry on camera was, I didn't know what that meant. Like, what do you do? Does someone
Yeah,
give you
oh my
some?
god.
Do you make magic? Like, do you put something in in edit,
Yeah, like,
in
yeah.
post production? Yeah,
Yeah.
they put something in. Obviously, I knew afterwards that you can get stuff to put in your eye to make you
Oh
cry.
yeah, yeah.
And I tried that once, but I don't like it. So all the other scenes that I did it naturally, but that was like from experience of obviously doing it all the time. But even things like that, I was like,
How do
what
you
do
do
you
it?
mean?
Like, it's,
Yeah,
you have
like,
to just, yeah.
yeah, and it's finding ways like that. And even like I learned the hard way, because I'd finally get to that moment, and then I'd go home crying, and I'd be like, why are you crying for? But I wasn't
Hmm.
sad, but because I embodied the character so much, she was
Stays with you a
inside,
little bit.
yeah, and she stayed with me. And I went home, and I was crying my eyes out, and I was like, what are you doing?
Mm.
Leave the job at
Yeah,
like,
leave it
you
there,
know,
yeah.
leave
But
it
it's
at
hard.
work.
It's hard to do
Yeah,
that.
and it's difficult, because I was like, wow, are you going method? Like, what's, and I'd have conversations in my head about what you're doing. And
Yeah.
then obviously then I had a technique and a process, and then I understood it then, and it got easier. But tricks of technicalities, tricks of the trade kind of thing as well.
Yeah, you just have to learn, like, on the job as you kind of go ahead.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. Wait, I feel like time goes so quickly in these. I'm looking at the time, like, how has it nearly been an hour? But I feel like
Oh well,
we've
yeah.
discussed
That's
so
probably
much good.
me chatting away.
No,
Sorry.
honestly, I think it's, you said so many things. Like, it's, I think people are going to benefit from this. Just a final question, just to wrap up before we go into fire round. I know we briefly spoke about representation, but what kind of things are you glad to see that is happening now in terms of South Asian representation, that you wish, as a young brown girl, that you were like, I wish I saw that when I was growing up, but that you're glad to see now?
I think more opportunities. You know, there's like I think especially theatre venues, and in all art forms, to be honest, in TV, people are realizing that we need to see society
Yeah.
on screen. We need to see it in theatre spaces. If you're preaching to the community, why are we not seeing the community in your
Mm-hmm.
theatre space or in your TV show or in your platform or your channel? And I think like now more than ever, like I'm realizing how prevalent it is, if that's the right word, making your own work and the power of that. And like I've had loads of conversations here and there, but I feel like now there's just more opportunities. Like, you know, we had Bridgerton, we had like 2 central characters who were Asian. Like that's massive.
Yeah,
You know,
darker skinned as well. Like
that,
that's
yeah,
a massive
that
step
is,
forward.
yeah. It's huge, and it makes me so happy because I'm like that person that stopped me in the street. There's someone that looks like me. There's someone that's brown. There's someone that's representing me on screen or in a theatre, and I just was like, I just felt like it's like invisible hugs.
Oh my God,
Like,
that's such a good way of doing it.
you know, yeah, like we're all in this, and it's like, you know, I get a gig, you get a gig. It's a win for all of us, and
Oh my
that's
God,
what I keep saying. And even like Rishi Nair, who played Sammy Malik, who played my older brother in Hollyoaks, he's playing the lead in Grantchester,
okay.
first brown vicar for that show, and that series has been going on for years. And I think he's just wrapped 2 seasons now, 2 or 3 seasons, I think. And I remember when he told us that he got it, and we were all like, I feel like we just all had tears in our eyes, because he had that drudge where he left the show and he wasn't like, he had a couple of jobs here and there, and then he got the break again. And we all just collectively be like, we're so happy for you, because this is a win for all of us. And that's what it is. And like seeing like promos with his picture on, and I'm going, that's my brother. And like, you know, moments like that when it's that community, I think that it's so important. And I'm glad that slowly loads of work needs doing still, but bit by bit there's like artist developments here for South Asian artists, there's call outs, there's pitches for specific representation, and I'm like, yes, we need more of that. And that's what I'm trying to do as well. And like even with me teaching, I'm like, there wasn't somebody that really did look like me. There was Asian people, but they were older and they were like my parents, similar ages, but no one that looked like me. So I'm trying to go, I know I've got a platform and I'm trying to use it in the right way and go, if I can do it, so can you. And I think that's,
and I
long-winded way.
No, I completely relate to everything that you're saying. And I think what you said about Rishi, in the sense we're seeing us in roles that you don't typically see us in. And I think that is slowly starting to happen, but it needs more work, because we are moving away from those stereotypes and seeing us in those roles. And I just hope we can see more of that. And I agree in the sense, when one of us wins, it is a win, and it paves the way just for more work to come for us. So that is the way forwards. Thank you so much for sharing everything. I feel like you were so open and honest, and I think loads of people are going to resonate with everything that you said in this. Cool. Okay, final one. I asked this to everyone. If you could go back and talk to your younger self, what's one piece of advice that you would give?
Take more risks. That's what I've felt. Definitely take more risks, gamble on things, and stop procrastinating so much. Like literally, like life is like way too short. Just go and do it. And we even keep saying, and I used to kind of say it to my friends as a joke, like it's not that deep. But I'm like, no, it's not that deep.
Yeah,
it's not that deep. And even when I was working in schools where I was teaching, like the other week, kids just young people just come out with anything. They just say it. And I'm like, you know what? I need that courage even more to just go, yeah, right, yeah, whatever. It's not that deep. Let's do it. Like, stop thinking and put it in motion. And I think that's what I need to keep doing. That's the advice, yeah.
Fantastic. Well, that's a really, really good one to end on. We've covered so much. Again, thank you so much for jumping on this chat. I'm so glad we managed to get it organised.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate
it. No problem at all. I will be announcing to everyone when the next guest will be and when this chat will be live. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you guys later. Bye.